Surf Radio. I'm your host, Joe Monday, and this is the third and final chapter of a three-part episode where I've sat down and talked to three artists within the FGC to talk about the industry. Without further ado, this is part 3, the Cody body pillow that shook the FGC's bedroom. I have on Mike Tay, aka Zonknuckle. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to come on and speak your mind about being an artist in the FGC. And speaking of that, let's just get right into it. What do you see as the artist's relationship to the FGC? What is the position of an artist?
Well, people are really passionate about their characters in FGC, so I don't know, I guess that's why I like working in it so much, is because people come to you because they actually have a connection to that character. They kind of represent that character when they go and play in tourneys or whatever. So there's always a stronger passion than if someone were to just be like, hey, I like this character, can you draw it? Yeah,
There's
I don't know.
It's more tied to them personally, other than they express themselves through their character, but then also want to see it expressed in an art form.
Yeah, it's I guess with any gaming community, that's kind of the cool part about being an artist, is that these people they have certain costumes and colors that are really more it's what they prefer because that's the character that they use, or the colorway and whatever that they use. So there's always a stronger connection there. Yeah, I think it's super cool.
And what, in your experience, maybe talk to that end a little bit about how much or what you do within the FGC.
Well, I'm mostly just a fan artist, so I just draw. I'm known for drawing Cody. I think he's just a really cool character. He has a cool design. I think the corny jailbird thing, I think, is super cool. I'm probably the only person who thinks that, but yeah, I'm mostly known for drawing fan art of Cody. I'll draw other things if I'm feeling up to it.
Well, then
I guess I draw mostly Capcom fighters.
Do you take commissions at all for your work?
I do sometimes. It really depends. I don't know. Lately, I haven't been in a really good place to be taking commissions, just because I'm trying to sort out convention schedules and stuff like that. Personal things.
So it's a scheduling matter in terms of whether or not you can take them, but otherwise you're usually open for commissions.
Lately I haven't been open, but yeah, I guess it's just something that I have to feel up to.
Yeah, I guess that's the prying question here of your relationship to that and people who might want to pay you money for your art. I think that leads into the next question of, do you think that by the people who would be consumers of art, do you think that your work or work in general is somewhat undervalued? And how that relates to sharing your art through Twitter or otherwise?
I wouldn't really say undervalued. I just think that I've kind of had my identity assigned to me because of the kind of things that I present online and the way that I present myself online. I mean, my name is Zonknuckle, right? So obviously, I've got this weird Cody infatuation, and then most of my content that does get a lot of attention is usually involving Cody or Cody and Guy. So I guess that's kind of what's expected of me now, is to draw things that are Cody related. And then sometimes, I'll put a lot of passion into something that isn't Cody or something. And then people will be like, hey, why isn't this Cody? And it's,
really?
I wouldn't
you
really
get
say
pushback
it's,
for,
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Is there a weird example that comes to mind with that?
One time I cosplayed Sakura, and a lot of people were wondering why I went to Sakura and not Cody, which is kind of weird because I mean I'm a small girl, So I was like, I mean, why Why would I? I mean, they're probably joking, but you know.
Still, the fact stands. They're like, hey, by the way, you love Cody. Why aren't you dressed up as a Cody? It's like, well, my guy.
Right?
Yeah. So I guess in that sense, you wouldn't be... Have you been approached for commissions that are not Cody related?
Oh, yeah, all the time. In fact, most of my commission work it's not... it doesn't have Cody in it because I guess people just want to see the way I interpret other characters, which is kind of common. But I mean, like at conventions and stuff, that's normally when I do take them. And so the people who approach me, especially here in Hawaii, the people who approach me for commissions and stuff, they don't really know that I work primarily within the FGC. They just see art that they think is cool, and they're like, "Oh, hey."
Do you mind if I dig into that line then and ask you a little bit about what it's like at conventions, or what your general approach is to being an artist at a convention?
Yeah, of course. I don't think Zombie and Mao do conventions too much, so that might be the only new content I have to contribute.
That's true.
But yeah, let's get into that then.
Well, I mean so that's the question then, is like, what is your approach when attending conventions? What's that look like to you?
Okay, so I started doing convention work when I was 15. So that was about like 3 or 4 years ago. And I don't know, I started out at a really small local convention here in Hawaii, and the turnouts usually aren't too crazy. Like, we don't really have any events that are like, I think the most that we bring out is about like 12,000 people for a convention. So, it's super mellow. I guess you kind of got to gauge like what people like. So here in Hawaii, there isn't like a very strong FGC here. I mean, we have some history, and we do have a pretty tight-knit community here, but just the people who come out, it's like everyone already knows each other.
Right.
So
That's
I kind of have to
say
cater.
That. I feel like I hear about the Hawaiian FGC maybe more than the Little Island would imply.
Really?
Yeah, I hear about the Hawaiian FGC all the time, but maybe that's
cool.
just because the circles that I run in are mostly online based, and I think that's a lot of the outreach that they do is through there. But
yeah, definitely.
But from your experience, going to conventions though is generally smaller than you would get from something that's in the States or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Definitely. Yeah, so I kind of have to cater to like the more general like anime, video game audience out here. So I don't really draw a lot of I don't bring a lot of FGC related art to conventions here. I actually only started focusing like mostly on fighting game related stuff to bring to conventions this year, because Evo was my first time going to a fighting game related like event.
Really?
For the main purpose of selling my art, which was really fun. I had a lot of fun out there, and I made the decision to go back not even like before the first day was over.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I'm definitely coming back here. But I had a lot of fun doing that, and I think that is what I want to start doing from now on. Is focusing on the fighting game community instead of just trying to be broad and cater to everyone here. I don't know, it's kind of hard because the tastes that people have here, it's usually really mainstream. Like, I sell a lot of Overwatch, My Hero Academia, just like really broad communities here. So
are those things that you are personally passionate about?
I don't know anything about either of those series.
Okay.
I try not to tell people that, but hey.
Right. No, that's totally fine to have that opinion. I mean, I can't track with that, so I'm right with you. I totally understand, but I know that those are super popular.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you do art with along those lines, do you kind of lose a little bit of the passion for it, or do you just enjoy the craft in general?
Oh, that's a tough one. Yeah, it doesn't feel as good as if I was drawing something that I love. Mostly because like I kind of have a feel for the characters and what they're like, and that's one thing that I really like to that's one thing I like to interpret is like the character's personality and how I can show that in a single image, you know.
Mm-hmm. And do you think specifically with fighting games, because there's not a ton of characterization through the games themselves, it allows you a little bit more, I guess, freedom to express that character how you like?
You know what? Yeah, I think that's a really interesting thing about fighting games is that there's a lot to work with, but they're still really interesting characters, you know?
Mm-hmm. Because I've seen your Cody work, and you've taken some liberties with, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't really know anymore. Because I see your Cody, and now I just think, oh, he's a man about town.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm actually super glad that Capcom went with the the Playboy direction with him, because that's kind of what I've been doing for the past like 3 years. And now I'm like, okay, well, I don't look as crazy now, so thanks.
Don't look that crazy for leaning into that aspect of it. No, I dig it.
Yeah,
I dig
right. It's super cool because that's actually, I think that's what I get told a lot, that's what makes people like my work, is that I kind of emasculate him a little bit, and I don't really see it that way. I don't know. I'm just having fun, I'm just drawing things that I don't really see a lot of, so.
That's kind of interesting. I don't know why people would have that opinion. I don't think I see it that way. Is that how it's been interpreted in some circles?
Yeah, that's how. I mean, I don't know. People will say different things, Yeah,
we might be exclusively talking about Twitter at this point. Okay, but in your experience, how are artists treated within the FGC specifically?
I think that this is one of the most appreciative communities that I've ever been involved in. Mostly just because the FGC really realizes the passion that goes into art, and that art is a luxury that we don't really need to create it, but it's we're creating it for our community, and it makes people happy, and that makes us happy, and like I said earlier about people coming to us with the characters that they use, wanting to see their character represented, it's really great. I think it's super cool, especially because I don't actually play the games, so it's
this
really
is
cool
something that I learned that fascinated me. This is actually super interesting.
Yeah, I think it's super cool that they're for the most part, the FGC hasn't, they don't cast me out or anything for not playing it. But I still get a lot of love for the work that I create and the work that
other
I do.
Communities might do if they knew that you didn't watch their favorite anime, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have a story about that. I won't ask you to share those stories, but that's cool. That's surprising though. And I guess your experience with that was reflected at Evo when you showed up, and I guess you were treated pretty well by people at that convention.
So here in Hawaii, like I said, a lot of people don't come to me already knowing who I am and all that. But when I went to Evo, that was the first time I went to an event, and people were coming to me looking for me, and it's a really cool feeling, knowing that your work reaches that far. Especially because I come from a tiny little island, and everyone already kind of knows each other within our communities, but it's not like someone comes to you and they're like, hey, I know you from your work, Right. It's it's totally cool, the love I got out there. I think that's definitely what makes me so drawn to the FGC, is that there's always so much love. at the events that you guys have.
Yeah, because I think that it's a large community, but I feel like it's still very tight knit. Like names get around and what people do. I mean, it's just everyone. I don't want to say everyone knows everybody because that's not true. But like you do something cool that's notable, or do a cool Cody design, and people just say, "Oh, hey, that's your Zonknuckle."
Yeah. It's easy to be like recognized.
I guess, how did that go? Because for the most part, people don't know each other through their actual human faces, with that, because most of the conversations happen online. But like, did they just notice you standing next to a Cody body pillow? How did that go?
That's pretty much how it went. Because a lot of people didn't know that I was a girl, or that I was. A lot of people were surprised seeing that I was who I was. Because I don't do a lot of face reveals,
right,
or self-portraits on Twitter and stuff. So I mean, they have every right to to be surprised. But I kind of found that shocking, though, that they were legitimately surprised. Like I don't know if you know, like, Born Free.
He's been on the show before. He's a good friend of mine.
He showed up to my table, but like he didn't actually, like, he wasn't looking for me or anything. Like, he walked past my table, we kind of made eye contact, and he like backpedaled like 5 steps, and he looks at me like all slow, and he's like, he points real slowly at me, and he's like, "You're Zonknuckle." And I was like, "Yeah, hi." I was like, "Yeah, I know you. I've seen you around." And he's like, "I did not know that you were a girl until today." Because I guess he was like, "Oh, is Zonknuckle here?" And someone was like, "Yeah, she's right around the corner." And he's like, "Oh, it's a she." And then when he actually saw me, he was like, "Oh, it is a she."
They weren't lying to me. Aha. That's a good Mark story. I like that. That's pretty funny. No, that's cool. And it's funny that, like, it's a small community like that where, I don't know, some weird shit like that can happen. That's pretty cool. Cool to get that perspective from it. All right, so then I guess this part is, you've kind of already talked about this already, but from your work and your art, is it your goal to be financially supported by art?
I suppose that's I guess that's essential if I want to be like happy creating my work, but most of my motivators are intrinsic. So like if I'm satisfied with the work that I produce, or if I'm able to communicate certain things with my work, then I guess ultimately that is what will make me happy in the long run. But I mean, traveling and stuff, that sounds fun, especially like if it's being driven by my work. So I guess in a sense, being financially supported is kind of a must. Like going to conventions and stuff this year has been really fun, because before this year I wasn't going out of Hawaii. And I'm having a lot of fun doing that, like leaving the island to go and push my work. So I guess, like, in a sense, I would have to be financially supported to do that. So I mean,
let me kind of ask you this then: what is your, like, professional career? What is your background then?
So I'm actually a college dropout.
Okay. A professional college dropout, mind you.
That's me. I graduated high school last year, and I went to a community college for like a semester. I took a classical drawing course where they teach you like how to do like the Renaissance techniques and like measure with your charcoal and whatever. Super old school stuff. I learned how to do that, and then I took oil painting. That was a lot of fun. But I didn't like the learning environment, because a lot of the people that take art classes in community colleges, they're kind of just there for the credit. They're not there because art is really like their driving force, And I felt like I wasn't being like challenged enough. Because I'm a really competitive person. Like I feel like I have to be constantly comparing myself to my peers in order to improve.
That's fair.
So yeah, so when I was doing that at a community college, I couldn't do that very much, and I felt like I wasn't improving as much as I would have liked. So I kind of just quit, and I went straight into like doing freelance. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Earlier this year, I got to work for Michael Coleman, who's the voice actor for Cody. He has like this podcast. It's like a drama podcast because I guess him and the other voice actors, they're all kind of they're in the same agency or something. So they're all friends, and they have a drama podcast together that he writes, and he had me do illustrations for their 10th anniversary.
Huh.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I never
what was that experience
thought...
like? Do you have a name of that podcast to drop?
Yeah, it's called Tales of the Extraordinary. It's like a 1920s pulp comedy drama.
Oh, wow. Huh. Are there any other Street Fighter voice actors in that?
Oh yeah.
In that podcast? Wow.
Yeah, so Taliesin Jaffe, he does the voice for Adon, and he's also the director. As far as I'm concerned, I think he's the director for Street Fighter 4's English voice acting.
Huh.
Bonnie Gordon makes some appearances. She's the voice actress for Rainbow Mika. I don't know. It's kind of hard because voice actors, they all they do a lot of work.
Right.
So like I can't really recall
like who has made an appearance on that show, obviously, because they're, from what I've heard about the life of a voice actor, it's just that you are constantly working and recording.
Yeah.
But that's cool though. No, I had no idea. So look that one up. What was the name again?
Tales of the Extraordinary.
Okay, Tales for the and you've done the cover art or the thumbnail art, I suppose.
Yeah, so they had a 10th anniversary performance in like this small theater in LA, and he was projecting my artwork up on the screen as they were doing improv.
Okay, maybe to get a better idea of what you mean by this, what was the whole would you mind talking about what that whole work was?
I actually met Michael Coleman here at a convention in Hawaii because they were doing like a Street Fighter event, and they flew in a bunch of the voice actors that were part of the same agency and whatever, and they're all friends, so they're all hanging out in the same place. So I went to go meet them, and I think I might have been like the first person to like totally freak out at meeting.
You geeked on them.
I did, yeah. I totally geeked out, and he was like, "Do you have the right person?" He was
surely you can't be me.
Yeah, he was so shocked. I felt so bad after. I was like, "Oh my god, this poor guy." But I gave him some artwork and stuff, and we kept in touch. And he ended up contacting me a couple years later, and was like, "Hey, I'm doing a show for Tales of the Extraordinary. It's our 10th anniversary, and we're going to be projecting stuff. And I wanted to know if you wanted to draw some pictures for it. Maybe we can show it." And I was like, "Dude, yeah, for sure." So, yeah, it was actually like super late notice. It was like a month in advance.
Is that enough time?
Yeah, totally not. I was also juggling a part-time job as a waitress. So like I would come home and I'm exhausted, and then I'd have to, bang out some artwork, and yeah, it was super tough. But I ended up making about 10 pictures for him for their, I think it was like
full color.
No, it was just like black and white. I tried to go for the the whole 1920s thing.
Oh, that's fair. That makes sense.
Yeah.
With that motif. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't think I have it uploaded anywhere, but yeah, maybe I should upload an album. Yeah, he might. I think he has it like on a YouTube video or something. But
if they did like a
YouTube
later. Archive of that particular show, it might be part of that, so to speak.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Do you have any other Buck Wild stories like that where you just happened to run into the voice actor of the character who you're like, totally geeked out over? Is that
I think Cody's like the only character that I've ever had like this kind of infatuation with. So
fair enough. That's
not
fair.
really, but yeah, it's always a lot of fun though, because he's kind of low profile. You know, so I think that's what that's what scared him, is that he's never played a role that was you know, attracted a freaky audience like that. Like you know, voice actor.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, voice actors like Matt Mercer and stuff. You know, I'm sure they get that all the time, but.
Well, kind of going off that or that idea though, because I feel like Capcom themselves have been a little bit more, or at least a little better about acknowledging the community and what they do as fans, I suppose. But recently through Capcom Connect, they've been featuring artwork from the community. What's your take on that?
Yeah. I heard about that. That's really cool. You know, I think that every artist works really hard, and you know, a push like that, it can mean the world to them. Especially like in my case, I kind of started out by getting recognized by the people over at Udon. And that, I think that might have actually like saved my my art career, because at the time that these people, you know, picked me up on their radar, I was like really struggling with a lot of personal things. You know, I was just a really emo, broody teenager, and
like you do.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that really gave me the motivation I needed to really be like, okay, art is really what I want to do. That's like really
let's reel this back then. Let me ask you what that was. Why were you contacted by Udon?
Oh, well, I wasn't really like contacted by them. It was just like exchanges over on Instagram, you know, like Iron Pinky, Edwin Wong, he does a lot of work for, I think he did the Darkstalkers versus Street Fighter comic. He did a lot of the panels for Street Fighter Unlimited, which is that comic that came out a couple years back. But yeah, he's one of the mainstays over at Udon, and he has this character that's like super cool. She's got like pink hair and a sailor uniform, and she's also got like this like mecha armor on her. She's so badass. But her name is Kue, and in 2015 I drew a picture of her, and Edwin saw it and he was like, dude, this is so cool. You know, he was having a really bad day, so I guess seeing that like kind of boosted him up a little bit, and he ended up following me and sharing the picture that I drew for him. And that, like, I don't know, I think things like that, you know, especially with Capcom Connect, since it's like directly at Capcom, you know, sharing people's artwork like that can really be a motivational boost. You know, I definitely know how that feels.
Yeah, it kind of gives a little bit of justification for the work that you do.
Yeah.
Especially if it was just like fan done, like there was no commission on that piece that you had done. It was just you liked his character and wanted to draw it.
Yeah, it's you know, it's all out of love, and then when people, you know, make it clear that they appreciate that, it's a really great feeling. So yeah, it's really cool that Capcom Connect's doing that, because you know, yeah, like I said, a lot of artists, you know, we work really hard, and you know, a lot of them don't do artwork for their career. Like they'd kind of just do it because they like to do it, and they're tackling jobs and school like in real life. So yeah, that's really cool.
Really cool. The grind is real. I'll say for many people out there. I mean, yourself included, obviously. I suppose with that line of questioning, can I ask you then, how much time do you dedicate to your pieces? Or like what would like give me like a general breakdown of like how long it takes to actually complete something?
Okay, so I actually don't do very many like fully rendered pieces these days, just because like I haven't been very motivated. But when I do, I don't know. I'd like to say that I'm a fast worker, but I take a really long time to commit to something. So if I have like an idea, like I don't know if you've seen that picture I did of Cody and Guy on the subway.
Yes.
Yeah, so that one was actually that took about 3 days to actually complete. But like the actual idea, I danced around it for about like a month, like trying to figure out what I was really gonna draw. Like I had a bunch of different thumbnails. It's mostly the idea process that takes a long time, and then the rendering and actual technical aspect of creating it is a lot faster for me. But that's just me. It might be different for everyone else.
So you're talking more along the lines of like composition and like position. What are you trying to tell with this picture versus the actual act totally. of doing it?
Yeah. So composition and like trying to like planning. Most of it is just planning. With the Cody pillow, that I rushed that in like 5 days, both sides. Took 5 days total.
Wow, that's still a long time though.
Yeah, I mean, like I was working pretty much all day because I don't go to school anymore, and I don't have a job outside of art. So that was pretty much all. That's all I was doing all day.
Fully committed to it. So it took you a full 5 days to do the Cody body pillow.
Yeah, that was just like rendering and actually like committing to the idea, but the planning, the planning's what took I'd say about a month on that one as well.
Oh, damn.
Like on different, because it's reversible, right? So on one side you've got the mayor, and then on the other side you've got the jailbird, and I wanted to like make sure that they both felt like they had different personalities, because Cody's a totally different person in Street Fighter V. Like I mean, he still has like the aspects of wanting to be a ruffian, and
he's still cocky in both.
Yeah.
But like how he cleans himself up is a little different. How he presents himself might be a little bit different on either side of the body pillow, for example.
Yeah, I feel like he's a lot more he is cocky in both, but I feel like he's more confident, like, and assertive in Street Fighter V. So I wanted to make sure that, like, I illustrated that on the mayor side, and then, on the jailbird side, he seems a little more insecure. I don't know. It's hard to explain the character depth that I see with Cody. There's a lot of, characterizing in my own head.
And I think that's we touched on this earlier, but I feel like that's just true of fighting games because the characterizations are very limited in scope, which allows you to kind of take that little artist liberty with it. So however you want it to be, And let me ask you this then: are those body pillows still available?
Production has been kind of sporadic because I didn't expect them to do as well as they did.
Okay.
It was kind of just a passion project. Like, I couldn't find a Cody pillow anywhere, and I wanted one, so I was like, you know what?
You're not the first person to say something along the lines of, well, I wanted this, so if I just put in that little bit of effort so that I can get it, and then maybe like other people might want it so it could be available to them, and that's just kind of how it rolled.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny.
It was like tenfold, dude. Like I didn't expect people to really really want it.
Oh no, they were horny for that one, like
for real. Dude, even the art director, I think for Street Fighter V, was like tracking my progress at Evo.
Oh, really?
He was like, he kept walking by my table. I don't even know what he looks like, okay? But I saw his Twitter, and he was like taking pictures of my sales throughout the weekend. And he's like, wow, look at this. And then on day 2, he was like, oh no, Mayor sold out. Like I didn't know he was paying attention. Wow. And then Akiman ended up retweeting it. And Akiman's like, he's our savior. He's the guy who even, created that character. So that was shocking. Oh man. Yeah. That pillow has done crazy things.
Man, what a trip. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I didn't know that tail end of it. I'm not as ingrained into the art world as you or other listeners might be, but that's pretty, that had to be a pretty vindicating moment right there.
Yeah, so Akimon, he's the one who did he did the design for Final Fight, Street Fighter 2. He created Chun-Li, he's
Yeah, he's the guy
a
who was
pretty
obsessed with her thighs and then like spent
yes.
like the story behind that. He took like I don't know how long it is, but it was like a very extended amount of time like working on just her thigh size.
I think I heard about that and how he was like super adamant that she's like pretty.
Yeah,
He's
he's like,
she
this has to be perfect.
I mean, he did a good job though. She's like one of the most iconic characters ever.
That is true. That is very true. I'll encourage people to look up that story about specifically the design of Chun-Li. I probably don't have the facts straight on that one, but to memory, it's like that's a little weird, but okay.
I mean, even if that's not exactly how it went, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, respect the lore. Respect the lore, folks. It's just people telling stories. Okay, but no. So let me ask you this next question then, somewhat related to Capcom in general, or things that would be a little bit more official. So this question was posted to our Street Fighter a while back, and it was a user asking the question of, should Capcom hold a costume design contest? And let's say like whoever gets chosen or voted or whatever, that costume becomes available for purchase in game. What's your take on that?
Oh yeah, so actually I went and I checked out that thread. I think they make an interesting point, like letting fans get more engaged with especially for someone like me who likes to create art but doesn't really like to play it, like they can still kind of be involved in the gameplay aspect. I read one comment that was like, yeah, just win Capcom Cup. They have a
that's
point.
One way, yeah.
They have a point.
That is true.
Yeah, but there was another comment I read that said that artists should be compensated if they win or if they place, which is, I think that's the best way I think they can handle something like that, is if because that's assuming that the costume is available for purchase, right? Because I mean, with the direction that the game has been going, that's likely what they would do. Right. So I do think, that the artist should be compensated if they win, but that's a pretty interesting idea. I think a lot of people would participate and it would bring in a lot of, super cool designs. I can't imagine being on the judging board for that.
That would be... See, that's interesting, though, because think about it more along the lines of this, where let's say you made a design and you didn't, quote-unquote, win like the contest outright, but then a year down the line, they create a costume that is maybe not exactly like your design, but very similar.
Ooh.
I feel like there's some weird legal issues that might come up in that situation.
Yeah. Oh, the disrespect.
But I can see them write it in a way that could totally clear them of, well, if you submit your art, then you submit it to Capcom. They own it now.
That is true.
Is probably how they would have to do it.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Hot Topic t-shirt designing contest that they have with like We Love Fine or something like that, or with DeviantArt. I know with DeviantArt, if you submit your art to DeviantArt, they're allowed to take it and resell it.
I actually did not know that about DeviantArt.
Yeah, so I mean, sure, there's a lot of like intellectual property loopholes and stuff with that, but as far as I know, there was this artist who did like a Steven Universe drawing on DeviantArt, and their art ended up being sold to Cartoon Network. And it's actually like written in the DeviantArt terms of service that they're allowed to like sell your work. Right.
That's kind of bonkers. I actually didn't know that about DeviantArt. Yeah. But what is the Hot Topic thing you were talking about?
It's so they usually have like t-shirt designing contests or merch design contests, and people submit their artwork and they get like a super small financial prize if they win, and then Hot Topic gets to like sell their shirts for thousands and thousands of dollars. So I can imagine that it would be something like that. You get paid a small sum of money for something that ultimately they're gonna be profiting off of.
All right, and with that, I think that basically covers everything we had set out to talk about. Is there anything else that we haven't covered in this conversation that you would want to touch upon, or something you hadn't got to speak on yet?
I just think that, people shouldn't be too embarrassed to draw things that they want to draw or to make the content that they want to make, because that's how I started out. Is I was drawing things, I was like, oh, no one's gonna want to see this, no one's gonna want to see Cody holding hands with Guy or whatever, and I just went out and did it, and that's why that's why a lot of people are like, holy shit, like she just fucking draws whatever she wants. And I think that's a really liberating thing, to just draw what you want and, not really care. And the responses that I've gotten are pretty, people are usually really supportive. And, as long as you're doing what you love and there's a lot of passion behind it and you make that clear, I think, people are going to be about it. So like, if you want to draw frickin' Sodom in an idol outfit, go right ahead, dude. Like, just do whatever you want, man.
What if I think that my art is bad? What if
dude,
I don't think I'm any good?
That should be the last thing on your mind. Posting your artwork is probably the best thing that you can do for improvement, I think. Because, you get a lot of feedback, you see what people like about it. And then when you know what people like about your work, you do it more and more and more. And then, it's like, it's a really refining process, because you get a lot of different fresh eyes looking at your work. And I think ultimately that's what led me to improve a lot, is surrounding myself with a bunch of other artists like Mao. Oh my God. Like, Mao has been there for so many years. I admire her so much. She's so cool.
Yeah, so, I just talked to like the other day, so that I'm right with you on that.
Yeah, like, you have to surround yourself with artists that you admire, that have good work ethic, that'll motivate you. That will make you improve. So don't ever worry about your art not being,
Is there a secret artist Discord?
If there is, I don't know about it.
Is there a secret Illuminati? I feel like and also, if it did exist, you wouldn't tell me. I'm not an artist.
Yeah,
certainly wouldn't tell me.
Yeah, you have to show me your your figure studies. You have to determine if you're good enough.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly not. Trust me on that one. Long story about, I won't share that. But anyway, thank you for, I guess, sharing all of your thoughts and opinions on artists from the FGC. You've been very eloquent in your descriptions here, so thank you for taking the time. However, I have a line of question that I need to ask you. It's something that I ask every person who is their first time on the show. And this question comes in two parts. The first, for you in particular, I feel like this will be kind of interesting from the conversation we had earlier. But the question goes as such: what is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game?
Oh, geez. How do people usually answer that, actually? Like, what do they usually...
There's a whole slew of answers, because it can tell a lot about a person of what they go to with normal attacks. For example, I've had people say, I just like Ryu's crouching medium kick because it's utilitarian, you can get a whole lot done with it, it's a good poke, it's good for combos, it's just all around generally good. But then my answer to this is always... I really like Zangief's Stand Fierce in Street Fighter 4 because it's so violent. When he hits you with it, you shouldn't have been hit with it. You done fucked up. You done goofed. On counter hit, you can get a sick juggle combo that, again, should never happen in a real match. But when it does, it is just, it looks so good. It's a statement. I like that about it. We've had a whole different slew of answers. So it could be anything. It could speak to anything about what you like. If you had to even look at what Cody can do, what is the thing that Cody does that you might think is, I don't know, attractive?
I was gonna say that I like his in 5, his, what is it, the standing light kick. That just looks so stupid. It looks so dumb.
You're not wrong. I'm with you on that. It does. There are some questionable animations.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's not good. But hey, more power to him.
No, I'm with you on that. That's funny. I think that's the first like actual like art heavy answer to this question. And certainly the most like ironic answer that anyone's ever given. So
that it just looks bad.
Yeah, hats off to hey, that's totally fine. If you like things that are a little fucked up in very specific ways, then I can fully back that. I am behind you 1000%.
Yeah, I just find everything hilarious. So if something makes me laugh, I'm more likely to be like, yeah, that's cool.
That's funny. That's very good. So then that comes to part 2 of this question of what is your favorite combo in any fighting game?
Oh, geez. Well,
this one might be a little bit harder.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Since I don't play fighting games, I guess that I wouldn't really have a answer for that one, huh? I don't know any.
I mean, that's fine.
Honestly.
That's totally fine. I'm not gonna blame you for that one. Or if there's any like combos that you've seen people do you even watch fighting games? Let me ask you that.
I do. I watch, but I don't like. I can't. I don't know. I'm kind of stupid when it comes to like telling what's going on.
That's fair.
So
there's no shame in that, because with fighting games, and I've said this before, and why I don't think why I think that fighting games should be more popular is that I think on a general sense they're very easy to follow, right? Like you don't really have to know a lot about them to know that one health bar is lower than the other.
That is true.
Part makes sense to me. But okay, I'm not gonna pry into that and then make you say something that you're just gonna pull out of your ass. That's fine. But I do appreciate you humoring me in that line of questioning then. All right. Well, thank you for joining me in this conversation. Zonknuckle, where can people find you on the internet?
So I am on Instagram under Zonknuckle. I'm on Tumblr under Zonknuckle, and I also have an online store under Zonknuckle as well. But
brand solidarity, I like it.
My Twitter actually is slightly different. There's a the story behind this kind of sucks, but it's Zonknuckle, like with an I and an E instead of an LE. So
I didn't know that until you said that out loud right this second.
Yeah, it's capital.
It's one of those things where I would have never noticed that had you not said it out loud.
You want to know
right
why?
Now. Yeah.
You want to know why that had to happen?
Do tell.
I told one of my friends on Twitter that I was going to kill him because he posted a lost meme, and I thought that meme sucked. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to kill you. And Twitter suspended me.
No, that's why? Yeah. Because you said you were going to kill your friend? Oh, that sucks. Twitter is a fickle bitch sometimes, let me tell you.
Yeah, it gets the best of us. They've been dropping like flies.
Man, I'm going to kill Twitter. Damn it. Say that out loud on a podcast, but all right. No, that is... I didn't know that until right now. Wow, so that's Zonknuckle with a capital I. Although you don't need to search capitals on Twitter. I did. Wow, fascinating. Didn't know that. Otherwise, just Zonknuckle. The K is shared between Zonk and Knuckle. All right. Well, thank you again for joining me. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Had a fun time.
Thank you.